London's graveyards within the city were so full that the dead were literally rising out of the ground. So in 1832, Parliament passed a law that made it legal to sell human corpses. Hello everyone, today we're at one of my favourite haunts in London. It's a place I've filmed before, and if you've heard of Highgate Cemetery, you probably already know the legends. But today I would like to tell you a different story. I feel that most people talk about Highgate Cemetery as if it was straight out of a horror movie. And as if it was a cemetery full of vampires and other strange sightings. The atmosphere is there, I'll give you that, but the real story behind how it came to be and why it looks like this, it's definitely more interesting than that. Every path and every gravestone tell a story about the people, their grief, their fears, and about what happened when a city, this city, became obsessed with death. None of this was meant to scare people. The Victorians built this cemetery to comfort the living, which kind of makes it feel even stranger. Victorian London in the 19th century was running out of room for the dead. Because of the Industrial Revolution, the city's expansion and people flooding to work here, London was overcrowded with the living and eventually with the dead. The old churchyards were built for small villages and the capacity was limited, so graves were being reopened to make room for more burials. Bones were resurfacing, and that must have been a true horror. And people really believed that the dead were making the living sick. They blamed foul air, bad smells, and while they didn't yet understand germs, they knew that something was wrong. London's burial grounds were overflowing, water supply could become contaminated, and the city was facing a growing public health crisis. So Parliament stepped in, and places like Highgate, well actually 7 of them, were built outside the city. They were known as the Magnificent Seven. Now, they could have built something practical, simple, functional, but instead we have massive tombs, we have the catacombs, we have Egyptian tunnels, we have monuments pretty much everywhere. This wasn't meant to be only a place where people were being buried. It was something built to make death feel meaningful. Death was pretty much everywhere back then. You have typhoid, cholera, tuberculosis, and especially children. They were dying really young. At the same time, science was changing the way that people saw the world. All the certainties started to disappear, especially about what happens after death. And the church did not have tangible answers about the afterlife anymore. So people started looking for meaning in other places, like spiritualism, mourning rituals, the occult, and in cemeteries like this. And you can still feel the traces of that obsession everywhere. Now, let's pop over to the west side for a moment. Just to give you an idea, this is called Egyptian Avenue. Every time I walk through here, I can understand why Highgate can get under people's skin. It doesn't only feel heavy, but it always feels so cold. It feels almost as it's separated from the world, neither here or there, like one of those so-called liminal places. Now, the Victorians designed it like this, with mausoleums on either side, almost as if it's leading somewhere. And it totally seems like it does exactly that, doesn't it? Now, At the end of Egyptian Avenue, we come across something that, for me, is just as impressive. This is the Circle of Lebanon. Originally built around a huge cedar tree, it's surrounded by a ring of catacombs, with tombs disappearing beneath the ground. The tree is no longer here, but even now, it's easy to imagine the impact it must have had. It's easy to see why places like Highgate ended up with a reputation for being haunted. So, is Highgate haunted? Well, apparently I have a red mark on my neck that wasn't here earlier. What is that? Can you just back of your neck? What about? Point it out. That's really odd. People have reported strange experiences here for years. Figures between the graves, odd spots, the feeling of being watched. And being here now, I think I understand why, but people do ask the wrong question. The interesting question is not if this place is haunted. The interesting question is why this place affects people so much. This cemetery is layered with so much grief, flooded with memories and the fear and loss. And I think that generations of people bring their emotions into here. There are 170,000 people at least buried here. Imagine the energy. Maybe after a while, a place like this holds on to that. People in Victorian times were surrounded by death. They had all these little rituals in place. Partly, I think it was a way to control death, because death was unpredictable. People died young, they died suddenly, and died far more often than we experience today. These rituals gave people something to do, something familiar and something structured. And maybe it helped them to stay close to the people they lost. And I don't mean in a paranormal sense, I mean in an emotional sense. The Victorians were terrified of forgetting their loved ones. That's why clocks were stopped at the exact moment of death. Mirrors were covered. Families wore black for years. Some people even crafted jewelry made with the hair of the dead. And then there's post-mortem photography, which today can feel a little bit disturbing. But when death is everywhere, how do you stop it from being ordinary? And for some, the search went even further. Spiritualism and all its variants became incredibly popular. People attended seances and looked to the supernatural for answers. Some even believed the science might eventually help them communicate with the dead. And given how much grief people were carrying, can you even blame them? And after all this, to know that Highgate Cemetery became famous for a vampire story in the 70s, it does put things into perspective, doesn't it? Well, joking aside, I think that people were more reacting to the atmosphere more than anything. In the late 60s and 70s, there were neglected pathways, overgrown vegetation, crumbling monuments, and abandoned mausoleums. And, the atmosphere was not completely different from what it is today. Even now, Highgate can feel slightly unreal. I think that people are fascinated by how Highgate looks and feels, probably because it makes them feel something, even if they don't quite know what it is. But I think I know what it is, and that's continuity. Well, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give us a thumb up, and I shall see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye. Dude, we got lost.
It's your fault.
What do you mean you're tired? Okay. I don't know where we are. It's a place that's been done over and over again. A squirrel!